So we're done with all of the 120 volt wiring that's going through the walls, and next is 12 volt wiring, which we're really excited to get going on. However, the weather has a little bit different plans. It's been snowing and raining off and on, and the backyard where the bus has been living for the last few months has been getting sloppy.
Getting a little yucky, and we are extremely lucky because this is like no weather for January for us.
Yeah.
So we had the idea of, it was always going to move back to the side yard, especially when we started doing cabinetry and some of the other stuff, but we figured let's do it now before we make a complete mess of the inside but also our yard.
Yeah, we don't want to be tracking mud in the bus, which we've already been doing a little bit, and it makes it more difficult to kind of feel okay with coming out and working on the bus, going in and out. Overnight it's great, it freezes and we don't have to worry about it, but once it starts thawing out and becoming kind of
we have
muddy.
makeshift cardboard box entryways.
So we're going to park it on the side of the garage, which would be really nice. All the tools will just be able to come out of the garage, do whatever we need to. The front door of the bus will be right there. So we are going to finagle this sucker out of our backyard.
Moving the Bluebelle.
That'll do. Our backyard is so big.
I know. That's why I was like, it's massive back here.
Okay, so this box that's behind me, the driver's side rear of the bus, and it is where our umbilical that comes back here along with our turn signals tie in to our big cable that goes down to the trailer connection. It's a 7-pin connector, so it has trailer brakes, auxiliary power, all of that stuff in it. And so I'm just getting it wired in. This little device right here splices between having your turn signals and your brake separate versus having right turn brake, left turn brake like a typical trailer is. So that is how that is working. So I'm tying in auxiliary power right now and reverse lights and getting everything tied together. So this box is just going to have a big blank plate over it. It'll have this device in it along with one of the Akara relays. So that's why I have 120 volt power coming in is for the Akara relay. Okay, so now I've got the big cable that goes to the trailer connector wired in to this and to everything else that it needed to be. And now I just need to connect this other side. So I need ground, tail lights, left turn, right turn, and stop. Alright, so we got our converter all wired up. It's buried in the back of the box. Okay, 12 volt wires are going in the wall now, which is very exciting. So Basically, we have 12 volt wires coming out of this box. This is a switch leg to the toilet light. These are switch legs going to the master under cabinet lights and ceiling lights. They come over here. This is where a dimmer is going to be. So we have the reds are just powers. The purples are the actual switched loads going to lights, your switch legs to the lights. Here's our under cabinet lights. These are the regular under cabinet lights for the whole room. These are the under cabinet lights for just where the desk is. All in all, it's going pretty smoothly. We've got these cool little labels that we're putting on every single one of these so that we know where everything is going to. Super important. Once this gets spray foamed into the wall, you'll have no idea. It just stubs out and then you'll be tracing wires instead of just reading your labels. Making it happen, Captain. So for this back area of the bus, which includes the bedroom and the bunk room, bathroom, we're dropping all of our 12 volt wires down into the same cabinet where our 120 volt wires are going, because that's where the batteries are going to be and everything. And so we're just going to have one of the step down converters in that battery cabinet and feed all of the loads for the back half of the bus. For each zone, we'll classify the zones as each area that one of the step down converters is covering. We are not going to be tying our negatives to the chassis. We're going to be running all the negatives back to the step down converter's individual fuse box, but we're going to do that in a giant negative loop, a ground loop. So basically right now we're just running positive wires, and then after this we'll go around with 12 gauge wire and we will run a loop, a grounding loop to each of the devices, and they'll all tie in together. Copper is a much better conductor than steel is, so it should help with any low voltage problems or gremlins that we end up with.
Wake up early, sun on my face, hands get dirty, yeah, I know my place. Every step heavy, but I still move strong, building brick by brick, day by day long. No shortcuts when you're chasing truth. Plant these seeds while I still got youth. Pressure make diamonds, yeah, I feel the weight, but I trust the timing, I don't rush fate. I put the work in now so I can live free later. Faith in the fire, I'm a patient creator. Mind on a mission, heart stay steady. When the moment comes, I'll be ready. No fear in my stride, no doubt in my voice. Every sacrifice was a conscious choice. If the road gets steep, I don't turn around. Dreams get real when the roots go down.
So we're running our negative loop now. So essentially it's just 12 gauge wire that is running to every device location that requires a negative. Come along. So here's our exterior where the 8 ways used to be, and we've patched them from the inside. I'll show you that real quick. So this is what we have on the inside. This is the front, but same situation. We just cut out a patch, put a bunch of lap sealant between it and the skin, and installed it from the inside. Had it riveted from the outside, but the sheet is on the inside. That way, when the new lights, the LEDs, are installed, they're flush mounted. The original 8-way lights, you know, they were the deep style, big fat bulbs that came into the bus, and so they needed larger holes. So we just wanted to shrink up the hole size without having a patch on the outside. And so I've gotten a whole bunch of comments about these spaces, how we should put some big googly eyes up there, about just leaving them off. but we really wanted to utilize these, and we didn't want to do turn signals. We decided against that as well, and this is what we are doing. So we have just white flush mount Part Sam lights, and the insides are going to be auxiliary reverse lights. So when we're backing up, these lights will come on, and then if we flip a switch, then also tied to these is the inside lights up there. So if we have that switch off, when we go into reverse, only these ones will go on. And when we have that switch on, we go into reverse and all four will come on. That way, when we're kind of backwoods or we need a little bit extra visual, we can kick those extra lights on and it'll just really help to flood the area a little more with light. And then the outside light up there, the one on the left, is our rear floodlight. For when we're at camp, we have floodlights 360 degrees around the bus, and those will be controlled by an Aqara relay and our smart switch system. So now we're going to make this side look like this side. And we put the eyebrows back on because they're kind of iconic school bus features, and we just like them. We got some lights. Alright, now time for the fun lights. They're from Nightlight. Really excited about them. They've got a bracket on them that can go all the way up like this. So we're just going to mount them with a bolt through here. The only thing that I don't have for this install is the little entry glands for these wires. They have shipped. They'll be here tomorrow, but we don't have them yet. But I can still get these mounted. Alright, so we got our mounting bracket removed from the light. So now we can get this positioned exactly where it needs to be on the bus. Now we come inside. This is the tricky part. So we got to hold on to this bolt and put everything on without letting the bolt go. Once we get that nut started, then at least the anxious feelings can go away because we're not going to accidentally drop it on the outside. The bracket has a couple of little raised portions that actually capture the head of the bolt, which is fantastic, so I don't have to have somebody out there holding it, especially since I put this little set screw in. And just get that sucker tightened down. Now let's go put the light back on the bracket. Well, that's a beautiful thing. We got them all installed. Just gotta wait on those entry glands. I'll be here tomorrow, and then we can route the wires inside and wire those in. Now that we have those exterior lights installed, we were able to finish wiring up this back step-down converter section, the bunk room and the bedroom. So again, those interior two, they were wired into the chassis wiring system with the auxiliary reverse lights, and had to tie the negative from those into our chassis negative loop. And then the outer two are wired to our house wiring system. Into this box back here goes the positive, into what will be the Akara relay that will control those, and the negative tied into this DC to DC step-down converter's negative loop. So that's super exciting. That is basically half of the bus wired up for 12 volt. So yeah, super excited about that. We are getting so close to being ready for spray foam. In fact, we actually just set up our appointment for spray foam to get done, and we're stoked about that. That is the only component of this Skoolie build that is being completely outsourced. We want to make sure that it's done right, and with chemical reactions and stuff like that, it's just you know, I just didn't want to risk doing that on our own. Everything else on this build is going to be done completely by us with some help of some friends. But yeah, super excited for that step. And we're just a few weeks away, so we got to get grinding and finish out the 12 volt on this bus. But that will be for another video. Well, that's it for this video. Make sure you stay tuned for the next one, because we are not letting off that gas pedal. We are trying desperately to get this bus done by summer. That is the goal, and we are on track for that, and I think it's going to happen. So take care of yourselves. We'll see you later.